Hi everyone, welcome to our channel.
Welcome to our first unboxing and our first talkie.
This unboxing is an order that was a surprise for me from my partner. I had been looking at the sales section on the website Orchid Garden, and I think we all do it. We all go on websites and do these pretend orders with no intention to actually buy them because we're trying to be responsible. And he sneaked into the computer and actually did an order for me to surprise me.
And I guessed exactly the plants you wanted. It was amazing.
Yeah, you guessed exactly the
Yes.
plants. You didn't look at my shopping cart at all.
No, never. I would never do that. That's
Yeah.
private stuff.
He did. So I kind of, when we were unboxing this, I kind of remembered what could be inside, but not really because it had been a while. It took a while to arrive. So I had an idea of the plants, but I didn't exactly remember each and every plant. So it was a surprise, the order, and the plants were a surprise.
I wanted to give her the orchids because even though we all love our plants and we definitely don't have favorites, orchids are more of her thing and cacti and succulent are more of mine.
The first plant I pulled out is Ascocentrum miniatum. I've been wanting an Ascocentrum christensonianum for a while because we have a Renanthera and I love the idea of tiny vandas. They didn't have the christensonianum though, and this miniatum was on sale. And even though I'm not a huge fan of orange, I really would like the flush of tiny flowers that this plant has. This plant was listed as 18 months from blooming, which is why it looks so tiny. But it looks really healthy. It came covered in algae like a lot of other plants in this order, but otherwise I think it looks great.
I had no idea how small it was because once I ordered a plant, a vanda, that I thought was a small plant, and turns out it was not. It was a huge plant. And so for some reason, since that day, I stopped checking the size of plants, which may seem stupid, but it just didn't make any sense to check the
It
size.
was a vanda type, but it was an Aerangis hybrid, and it's huge. It takes up half our window actually. I love it, it's beautiful, but it kind of took all the space we could have for vandas. So now it's Phalaenopsis wilsonii. I really love the way this flower looks, so much I actually owned it before and I inevitably killed it. Because apparently it's not that easy to keep, it needs lower temperatures than the other phals we keep, and it's more sensitive to low humidity and air movement. I guess it now found its way back into our collection, and I'm really happy about that. I'm gonna try again. The plant itself doesn't look so great, but I know it can be deciduous in winter, so I'm not too worried about yellowing leaves. So this is Cattleya schilleriana. I wanted this plant because I've been really looking into smaller Cattleyas. I like Cattleyas, but they take a lot of space on the shelf. And from what I read, this is kind of a small Cattleya, and I really like the brownish red of the flowers. This plant was also on sale, and it's, according to the store, 18 months from blooming. You can tell it's a really young seedling still. The pseudobulbs are tiny and really on top of each other. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on it, because my experience with seedlings is they can take a turn for the worse really quickly if you're not paying attention. This is another plant that came covered in algae for some reason. Fortunately, it was really easy to remove afterwards with peroxide and a Q-tip. But it got me worried a little bit because the plants looked radioactive green. They still look really healthy though.
Oh yeah, I think the plants were fine. It was just a bit of algae.
This one is Laelia dayana, and I already have a couple of those tiny rupiculous Laelias, so obviously I had to get more. I think there's several varieties of Laelia dayana, and from the picture from the seller, this must be the normal pink variety. But I wouldn't be opposed to getting the purple variety in the future, because it's not like they take up a lot of space. This was our first time doing an unboxing on camera, and I was really excited to open my plants. So you really have to forgive us on all the trying to zoom in the plant and trying to get it in focus, because bear with us, it was our first time doing this. I'm sure next time will be better.
I'm not so sure, but we'll try. Give it a go.
This one is also a year from flowering, but the plant looks really nice and healthy, so hopefully we won't have to wait too long. So this is Brassavola cucullata that I've wanted for ages now. I have a Brassavola nodosa, but I think there's something really wrong with ours, because we've had it for over 4 years and it does nothing but grow tiny pseudobulbs and wither off roots, and it never fully develops.
I'm sure we're gonna have to replace that one eventually.
Yeah, but for now I really wanted a cucullata because I love the way the blooms look. I love the way the blooms look on all Brassavolas. I'm probably going to have to mount this one, but it's okay. As long as I don't have too many mounted orchids, I think I can keep up with watering them.
Does one ever have too many mounted orchids?
Oh yes, one can have too many mounted orchids. Next we have Laelia Adrienne, which is a primary hybrid of two rupiculus Laelias, Laelia pumila and Laelia Jongiana? I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, you can read it on the screen. This one, even though it seems bigger than the last one, it's also 18 months from flowering. And I usually don't like getting seedlings, but the prices were really good on Orchid Garden, and I don't always find this type of rupiculus Laelia at an affordable price in my area. She looks really healthy, as you can see, so I'm really happy with this plant, and I hope it blooms soon. This is a cross of Phalaenopsis venosa with Phalaenopsis lindenii, and I really wanted this plant because even though you don't see them a lot for sale, I really love the look of Phalaenopsis lindenii hybrids. We have another one crossed with mani or manii, but it hasn't bloomed yet for us. From what I can understand, Phalaenopsis lindenii requires slightly lower temps than most of our other phals, but my other one really seems to be doing well. We also have a venosa that blooms for us every autumn like clockwork, so I'm not really worried about this one. The plant looks really nice, and it came with the beginning of a flower spike. It was slightly dehydrated, but it bounced back really easy after a bit of water.
At this point, she thought these were all the orchids she was going to get, but there were more orchids under the packaging.
As if these weren't enough. I mean, this was a really, really good gift, and I was really, really happy. So this is Aerangis mystacidii. I've always loved African orchids, but I haven't had much luck with them. I had an Aerangis and an Angraecum that died, and we still have an Aeranthis that grows well, but it makes a flower spike and then it just dies off. I don't know what's wrong with it or what we're doing wrong. But when I saw this one on sale, I really want to try again because I really like African orchids. They're really beautiful to me, both the plants and the flowers. The plant came with a couple of leaves dying off, but the rest of it looks really healthy with some root growth, so at least I have that going for me. Let's hope I don't kill this one too. This is Dendrobium parishii or parishii, and I already have one deciduous dendrobium. It's a cross between Dendrobium ephyllum and Dendrobium primulinum, and I love the way that pendulous canes look, so obviously I wanted to get more. Dendrobium parishii seems particularly good because it's compact compared to other deciduous dendrobiums. I still expected the plant to be bigger, but according to the internet, they can bloom at this size, so that's good. So this one didn't have the tag on the outside, but I can tell you it's Phalaenopsis golden sand. And I had never heard of this phal, but I completely fell in love with the picture on the website. It's a somewhat complex mericlone hybrid with Phalaenopsis venosa, equestris, and amboinensis in its parentage. This plant looks amazingly healthy, and actually all of the phals you're going to see in this order came in really good condition. You can see me checking for flower spikes, but I think this was the only one or one of the few phals that we got that didn't come with a flower spike. And of course the dreaded soft plastic nursery pots that don't hold themselves up. I don't mind them too much since I always report my plants as soon as possible. But my only problem with them is that sometimes the plants take a while to adapt to my mix because I use bark and sphagnum, and it's very different for the plant after being in compacted sphagnum for so long.
I love these pots. I think they're amazing. And as you can see, they can stand up by themselves perfectly.
And this was Phalaenopsis summer rose. I've been wanting a Phalaenopsis equestris for a while, but I really don't like... Well, I'm not going to say I don't like. It's not my favorite in its pink form. I like the Alba variety or the one with the purple lip much more. So this was my next best thing. It's an equestris hybrid with purple, which is one of my favorite colors for flowers. This is another plant that came in really, really good condition. This unboxing was a while ago, so I think it actually developed a flower spike a little bit after I repotted it.
I'm the one that usually finds the flower spikes, sometimes years before they actually appear.
Yeah, he's really, really, really optimistic when it comes to flower spikes. It's usually roots, but he's always sure they're flower spikes. And this to me was the most exciting part of the order, that dream plant that I've been wanting for years and could never get at a price that we could afford. This is Phalaenopsis tetraspis U1, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows this hybrid, that it has flowers with petals that are randomly red or white. After a lot of internet research, I still don't understand the difference between this variety of tetraspis and the plant that they call Phalaenopsis speciosa. And I think they're the same, but this one was listed as C1, so I'm pretty sure this is the one I wanted.
The plant looks great. It came with a lot of leaves, and we were lucky enough that it came with 3 flower spikes, I think.
Yeah, I'm so excited to finally have this plant, and I can't wait till it blooms. The flower spikes I think are developing. They seem much bigger than when it arrived, so we might be having flowers soon. And this is Phalaenopsis Joshua Irwin Ginsberg, and it's a primary hybrid between Phalaenopsis bellina and Phalaenopsis venosa. And to me, there was just no way that a hybrid between these two could be anything but gorgeous. And it is, as you can see by the picture that we took from the website. It arrived with a mangled flower, so we could kind of see what it was going to look like. This cut leaf kept getting more and more yellow, and I really wasn't liking the look of it, so we ended up just cutting it off to make sure that nothing was going to infect the rest of the plant.
So far, it seems like it hasn't spread to any more.
No,
leaves,
if you cut the leaf close to it and apply some cinnamon, usually I haven't had any trouble with leaves that turn yellow like this. So I wasn't too worried when it arrived. So inside the Tupperware was a tiny Leptotes unicolor. I got it because I really love my Leptotes bicolor. And even though they're similar, you can never have too much of tiny cute plants. I was surprised by how small it was, but then I checked on the internet, and I think it can indeed be this small and still be flowering size as it says on the website. The mount didn't come with great roots, and it's actually two smaller plants mounted together. But now that I've remounted it, I think it's gonna pull through. I hope at least.
I wasn't expecting for the plant to be this tiny, just compared to our bicolor. I was expecting something about the same size.
It is really cute though. So here's my beautiful order, my surprise order. I was really happy overall with the quality of the plants, especially the Phalaenopsis, which to me is the most important thing since it's my favorite genre.
So far, there are no complaints about ordering from Orchid Garden. Everything was brilliantly packed, very secure, and nothing moved around.
And the plants looked really healthy. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it wasn't too long or boring.
And if you enjoyed, you can like, subscribe, and comment.
Yeah, all those things that people with YouTube channels usually tell you to do.